Shadowbinders is back in stock on shopclownfish.com. That's shopclownfish.com. And now on with the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the anime industry and pay again. We did a video the other day talking about how Netflix was shafting artists, and the studio that came up was MAPPA. Now, MAPPA has issued a statement saying, "No, dog, you got it all wrong. Everything's fine here. It's all fine. People aren't being underpaid. I don't know where you got that crazy idea. You know, we're going to shut everybody's Twitter down now. Maybe we're not going to be able to talk about it." So it works. So yeah, we're going to talk about their statement and what has led to this. And also Toei talking about how they more or less have to cheap out on the animation now because there's such a demand for so many episodes. And you look at Dragon Ball with its freaking 1,000 episodes or whatever we're going on.
Well, to be fair, they used to do that back in the 80s. They'd have to reuse stuff. They did it with Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball before, but they had to reuse
transformation scenes.
Yes, because they had to get them, like, you had a lot of episodes, you had to get it done. They're going back to that, so people bitch about it now. Still going to be better than Western animation.
That's true. But they're actually going to be resorting to using more AI.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, to do in between animation, and it doesn't look bad. I thought it would look really herky jerky, but it seems like a lot of the in betweens are going to be done with AI now. So
that means no jobs.
Yeah. So if you thought that the animators weren't getting paid much before, when the computers come to take their jobs away from them, it's going to be even worse. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 205,000 subs. We do talk about the animation industry, talk about anime, comic books, whatever interests us that day. And we did cover this the other day, that Netflix was being blasted for not paying very well. And, studios came up, including MAPPA, but also Netflix themselves has been blasted because they don't want to pay for a series until the series is completed. So a lot of these studios either have to cut corners, paying their employees, or they have to take out loans to be able to stay in business. And we're talking, it could be 6 months, a year, 2 years.
It's just not very cool of Netflix to do that.
It's not, but they're Netflix. And, I have to wonder if studios are going to be like, yeah, this isn't a very good deal. Let's stop making cartoons, stop making animation for Netflix.
Not do it for Netflix, we do it for other places.
So that led to this conversation. This was on Cartoon Brew, that basically these animators are only getting paid $34 a cut on MAPPA anime shows for Netflix, which is way below industry standard. Okay. Way below. And a lot of freelancers, a lot of animation industry professionals were commenting on Japanese Twitter and saying, yeah, it's kind of a rip, and everybody's, kind of saying, hey, stay away from MAPPA, stay away from Netflix. Not a good deal. Just not a good deal. So now MAPPA had to release a statement to do damage control because they're probably running out of people to hire because they're like, oh my God, we don't want to work for MAPPA. So they put this out. This is coming from Crunchyroll.com, ironically enough. So earlier in the week, animation director Ippei Ichi claimed on Twitter that he was offered only 3,800 yen, which is $34 per cut for a short scene, to work on a show at MAPPA produced by Netflix. The tweets and the responses from the anime industry at large went viral.
Obviously.
Today, MAPPA responded to those claims, saying that the information was misleadingly disclosed, which made some of the facts be taken out of context and enforced misunderstandings and speculations that promoted unjustified distortion of the truth.
Okay, well, what was taken out of context? What was distorted?
They don't really say.
Okay, don't you think that they tell you that?
We're gonna read their statement. So this is their statement. This is their damage control. Okay. We have recently noticed that some internal information about an unpublished work was misleadingly disclosed on social media. As a result, some of the facts were taken out of context and other information was added based on misunderstandings and speculations.
Well, that can happen.
It can happen, resulting in unjustified distortion of the truth and causing a great deal of inconvenience to our clients. Netflix. To our clients and other people involved in the work. Netflix calls them, what the hell is going on, MAPPA?
That means Netflix, most likely.
As a matter of fact, the work in question, which has not yet been released, is not a project that we were commissioned to produce by a major platform.
Oh, it's not Netflix.
It's not Netflix.
This reminds me of when was it Redbubble? Was it Redbubble? Was the place that took the guy's shirt down for the
Oh yeah,
the
I think it
Loki
was
shirt.
and then the Loki one. Yeah.
And then they said because they were instructed to do so by the guidelines given to them by the IP owner, which was Disney.
Right.
Then later came back and said, "Oh no, Disney wasn't the one who told us that. We did that by accident. It wasn't Disney."
Oopsie doopsie.
After Disney got a lot of shit for it.
It sat. Yeah, Loki shirt sat out there for years, and it wasn't.
But it wasn't Disney. It was us. We overstepped. It wasn't Disney. They had nothing to do with it. Honest.
The work in question is a new installment of a TV series that was produced in the past for which both we and the production committee had been eagerly awaiting approval. And finally, the production order was realized when the production committee's managing company confirmed the sale of the work, of the work to a major platform.
The work in question. Wait. The work in question, which has yet to be released, is not a project we were commissioned to produce for a major platform. Then it goes on saying that we've got approval, and it's going to the major platform. Okay, so we're talking semantics here. It wasn't approved at the time, but now it's approved.
Yeah.
But it still was for this major platform. I mean, come on.
Yeah, last year Netflix struck a production partnership with the studio. Yeah, so it's like taking the long way around. Like, yeah, the show's gonna be on Netflix, but wasn't produced explicitly for Netflix.
So we say, but now it is.
But now it is. So Netflix is blameless. The production cost is determined by the sales amount. In the past, as well as the case of this work, we have never forced creators to accept commissions. We've never forced them to accept commissions.
No, you don't have to force them, but if they want it, they want to work.
Right, at unreasonably low prices that were not in proportion with production costs. Since many companies...
You didn't have to agree to it.
You didn't
have to agree to it.
I know your kids are starving, but you don't have to work for minimum wage. Even though that's the only job in town.
Then you just don't do it then.
Since many companies and creators are involved in the production of animation works, conditions are agreed upon between the parties involved in information management is also under strict control.
Don't talk about it.
Don't talk. Especially for works that have not yet been published, there is a risk that the parties involved may be accused of violating the contract and that the work itself may be abandoned.
That does happen, though.
It does. In other words, shut up, freelancers. You cost us big time with Netflix, and if you want to work, the show's going to get shut down because you shot your mouth off. Now everybody's out of work. How do you like that?
But it does happen.
It totally happens.
I can tell you for a fact that does happen.
We strongly object to such unauthorized disclosure of information and will take appropriate action. We're going to sue your ass. Our company aims to produce the best work possible within the scope of production costs.
We do the best we can with the cheap ass work we pay.
We will continue to make every possible effort to do so. We will strive to continue to improve the working environment and conditions for each project. Thank you very much for your support. It was not 100% confirmed that the above statement if Project MAPPA is discussing is the one they worked on in the past or taking over an anime project from a previous studio. Basically, they're like, you really effed up and Netflix is mad and now we have to do damage control.
And if you don't like that pay, then just don't do it then. We're paying very little, but supposedly, relatively speaking, we're paying very little. But no one made you take it. You could have said nothing then.
Well, that is true. I mean, that's true. But
the argument's weak sauce. And then it's like, and this was for a project that wasn't for a major studio, but amazingly enough, they suddenly picked it up afterwards, and it happened to be for a major studio. What a coincidence!
We're not saying it's for Netflix. And we didn't design it for Netflix. It wasn't produced for it, but it might wind up on Netflix.
Oh, but we sold it to majors. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Anyway, Toei Animation, which does some damn good work, usually. They're working on Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon, and they've been around a very long time, and they're feeling the pinch now too.
This stuff isn't cheap, guys.
No, it's not.
It really is not cheap to make these shows.
And, really where most of the money is coming from for these shows, this is why they're always looking for these big hits, is the merchandise and the manga sales.
I was just going to say, if you really like a show, the best way to support it is to go and buy the manga and buy the merchandise and not the bootleg stuff.
No, I was just going to say, not the bootleg. Don't buy the bootleg stuff.
Don't pirate it. Go buy the actual manga, go buy the actual merchandise that's official, because that's the best way, for these people to get paid and for it to continue. I mean, that only goes to the creators, really. But, I mean, if the studio knows it's working and it's selling, they might actually pay their people better. But, I can't promise that. So,
Well, the president of Toei said that, he's talking about the number of hits is small compared to the number of works that are out there.
Well, that's true.
That's true. There's a lot of anime out there, but, everybody's talking about Demon Slayer and That's about it. They're all
Yeah.
talking about Demon Slayer
Well,
now.
they still have My Hero Academia.
My Hero
Oh,
Academia.
now they're talking about that. Was it Chainsaw
Chainsaw
Man or whatever it is?
Well, okay, so you've got 5 or 10 anime that are sort of becoming household names, and they're usually the ones that they run on Adult Swim here in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, let's be honest. And you've got a lot of franchises like Dragon Ball and Sailor Moon and Evangelion that have been around for a long time, and they have a built-in audience. You know, One Piece. But yeah, you don't see a lot of like major hits every season. So it is kind of spray or pray. So they might put out 30, 40 shows in a year, and maybe only 2 or 3 of those, you know, take off.
And then when they do, everybody goes and buys the manga, and that's what shoots them up to the top of the charts.
So the president of Toei said, when he was asked about it, he said, how do you make a profit from animation works that are expensive to produce in streaming? Because it works differently. And this is what, you know, we talked about before with anime. They actually sit down with like a planning committee, and they're like, okay, we're going to make a new show based on this manga. So we get the manga publishers involved, and we get the toy companies involved, and we get the video game companies involved, because we're going to figure out how to make this thing make money. And that's, at the end of the day, when you're spending even cheap animation, it's still probably a couple $100,000 an episode US. And you're doing 13 to 26 episodes of that in a season. You know,
You gotta make your money.
Gotta make your money. You gotta make your money back somehow. So, yeah, they says the international revenue for anime grows. Streaming has pushed the anime industry to champion quantity over quality. And that is true. You've actually, you know, I think part of the reason Demon Slayer is doing so well, I mean, the show is good, but the animation's also good. And a lot of the animation, like even watching the new Fruits Basket compared to the original Fruits Basket, it does seem like some corners are cut, digital stuff is being done. The animation is not as fluid. There are a lot of, like, you can tell they just close up on a character and the mouth is moving, but nothing else is moving, you know, because it's cheaper. With computer technology, it's cheaper. And it's going to get even, quote unquote, better. Because now they're talking about having AI do a lot of the in-between animations. You know, now it doesn't look that bad. This is a demo. But, you know, that's going to be how many more animators out of work or massively underpaid? Because it's like, well, do we bother paying somebody, or do we just, you know, have the computer do it? And, you know, in this way, I guess you can just do the keyframes and then have it sort of, I guess, morph it from one keyframe to another. And yeah, that's a lot of work that is now automated. So, it's very interesting to see what they're going to do. So yeah, I don't think Japanese animators are going to get paid more anytime soon. Not by companies like Netflix,
No.
for sure. If they are, it's going to be, they're going to need to come up with a Demon Slayer
If they're
or
doing
something.
anything with streaming services for the most part, they're going to have this problem, because they even talked about, you know, Disney with Disney Plus. One of the investors in the investor call actually asked them about, you know, about quantity over quality, and he basically, you know, Chapek said, well, we're trying to get as much out there because we found out with streaming, the more you have, the more likely you are to get subscribers, which basically answered the question with, we're going for quantity over quality. And that's what these places are doing. These streaming services are doing.
Well, look at House Husband. That was like the biggest.
Oh, God, it was.
I couldn't believe it. Like, people were like, hey, it's really funny. I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't know, because I only got about 10 minutes into the first episode because it was barely animated. And I'm like, this is really deceptive. It's a motion comic.
Which is fine. Motion comics have their place. I just wouldn't expect that on Netflix.
No, not billed as anime, but I guess everything's anime now, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, I mean, between this and, you know, Netflix kind of deferring payments on series, and now they're trying to kind of homebrew their own animation teams, you know, all over the world, and it just seems like there are more people out there that want to work in the animation industry that are willing to work cheap, because what else are they going to do?
I also like how you had the picture here, the photograph morphed into the animation. Is that what the computer does too?
Yeah, it can like trace footage, like real footage and stuff like that. So it's I don't know.
I mean, it might be a good thing in the fact it'll get stuff sped up and it'll still look nice, but it is a bad thing for certain people that they might not have work.
Yeah, and we're gonna see more and more and more of this, especially with you know, it's almost like, it almost feels like a low key threat. Like, if you guys keep bitching about money, we're gonna replace y'all with a bunch of computers. You know, that's.
So it's basically like, if you want more than minimum wage at McDonald's, we'll just replace you with a bunch of computers.
Yeah, right.
It's like that, like everything that, you know, if you want money, we're just gonna replace you. So.
Anyway, we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
All right, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.